It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. The Racing with the Stars happens November 1st. That's next weekend, by the way. Go to joeskarting.com or find the Holiday Horsepower Drive Facebook page for more information. You can also search for the Racing with the Stars. It's a great little charity event that you can race against local dirt racers and raise some money for charity. So it's a great little event going on November 1st. Again, find them online, joeskarting.com, or you can get it on their Facebook pages between the Holiday Horsepower Drive or the Racing with the Stars site. Dirk, how you doing this morning, sir?
Oh, it's just not recovering anymore. I got recovered yesterday from Kansas, but had a great trip.
We had a lot of fun down there, and I was really excited. Honestly, I didn't think sitting in tech inspection would be that fun, but we really did kind of find some little things that they're privy to. These tech officials, I don't want to make it sound like I thought that they weren't very savvy or anything. I mean, they're basically PIs. They're private investigators. It's their job to look for these little bitty things that the crew chiefs are doing, that the engineers are doing, and that these teams are trying to get away with. And they get really creative, some of these teams.
Well, that they do. And I mean, when I was an official, I used to thank them. Especially when we caught something that was way out there, you know, thanks for the job, security. You guys are thinking and giving us something to do. Thank you.
And one of the other things I took away from this weekend is that there seems to be a lot of streamlining of the things that are going on for NASCAR. Like a business, they're trying to find ways to cut cost. And unfortunately, some of the things that they've implemented have meant that there's less jobs available for officials. And some of these older guys are kind of getting phased out. But there's a lot of stuff they've added over the last couple of years that have really made the tech inspection system pretty seamless.
Well, I was showing you, I think they call it the claw, the full body template that they use, and was explaining to you that when I was doing it, there were 32 templates on a truck from now where the splitter would be. We had a valance then, but from the valance just to the middle of the front tire. 32 on the nose of that truck. And I mean, now they got like 2 that they put on the nose, and then they've got a whole thing that fits over the nose and still doing the same thing, but it's just all in one unit. And, I don't remember how many went all the way back through the truck, but now they've got that full body template that does that. And then a couple things they work with on the spoiler, and it pretty much covers it.
Let's talk about what happened down at Kansas Speedway as far as the race was concerned. I expected to see some wild restarts. No shocker there. I was completely wrong. We saw some pretty organized restarts with some good racing action, and again, no shocker here, but I think you called it that you talked about it on Sunday morning during the live show that the ARCA race and the Xfinity race saw a lot of really good racing throughout the pack. The ARCA race had a really good battle for the lead. The Xfinity race, it was a good battle between Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth, but for the most part, it was kind of one of those that once you got out in front, you had that clean air was king, but there was still great battles throughout the pack and a lot of really good racing action, a lot of really good passes, and that's what we saw exactly on the Cup side again, too.
Well, Casey Kane come up into the top 5 out of nowhere, never got a mention. They were worried about Jimmy Johnson coming along. And, of course, then you had all the excitement at the end. I mean, we'd actually loaded up and were leaving the track with about 20 laps to go, and I told you there was going to be a wreck at the end of it. And lo and behold, look what happened.
Yeah.
I didn't know about there be a fight at the end of it, but
there never really was, but there was some words. I was kind of surprised. I kind of thought, as soon as that happened, I thought, are we going to see a flashback of Matt Kenseth tackling Brad Keselowski? I don't think anybody was surprised that Joey and Matt got together. I don't want to say that Joey wrecked Matt because, well, I think Joey wrecked Matt, actually. I think I should just go ahead and say it. I think strategy plays it out that that's the best thing that could have happened for Joey Logano. And Matt was in the way. Matt was blocking left and right. And so I don't have any issue whatsoever with what Joey Logano did.
Well, I haven't seen the replay, okay, but listening to the radio when they said he's trying to go on the outside of him and Matt took him up into the wall, well, when he came off the wall, where else is he going to go but into Matt's car?
Yeah. And Matt had lost a lot of momentum coming off of turn 4.
Yeah.
because of the lap traffic, which allowed Joey to suck up on him. Right, when you were listening to the radio, it almost sounded like Matt came up into Joey, into his front quarter panel, and put Matt into the wall. But what actually ended up happening was that Joey pulled up right behind Matt, and he hit him. When Matt said in the post race, it's hard to get any grip when your rear tires are off the wall, he wasn't kidding. That's exactly what Joey did. And I don't have a problem with what Joey did because Matt threw a block. And, my favorite driver, Tony Stewart, has a real issue with guys blocking, including Joey Logano. I remember, what was it, last year or the year before?
2 years ago, California.
Yeah, not happy with Joey at all for throwing blocks. And now
throwing water bottles.
Yeah, and now Matt was throwing the block, and Joey moved him. I got no problem with it whatsoever. The only person or people in the pits that have a problem with it is Matt Kenseth and that 20 team.
No, the whole Gibbs organization probably had a problem with it. So
maybe, but then it's kind of tough because if you're Kyle Busch, I think you're okay with it because now I only have to gain one spot to get into the chase. I don't have to gain 2 spots because Matt would have bumped another person out had he won that race, and then Kyle would have been a little bit worse of a situation. And Denny's kind of not like. I can't really say secured because we got Talladega today, and nobody is safe. Nobody whatsoever. We saw Kyle Busch go into this race last year, second in points, wreck out, and not make it into the chase, not make it into the eliminator round. So your results from Kansas: Joey Logano got the win, 5th win on the season, his 2nd win in a row for this round, and doing an absolutely terrific job. His teammate Denny Hamlin finished right behind him. Former teammate Denny Hamlin finished right behind him. Jimmy Johnson in 3rd, Casey Kane in 4th, Kyle Busch in 5th. Let's see, Kurt Busch, Ryan Blaney. What a great run for Ryan Blaney. He started 8th, finished 7th. You never really saw him outside of that top 10 for any point during that race.
Nice, steady drive. He's always had good equipment, and he's getting experienced enough that he didn't overdrive the car. He just took what it gave him.
Led one time for 5 laps, driving that Wood Brothers Ford, the Motorcraft Quicken Lane Tire and Auto Center Ford, and very respectable. I think that he really rose his stock for a lot of teams, but the inevitable issue is, where does he go? There's not a lot of cars that are opened up. There's not a lot of teams that have the ability to be able to give him quality cars. So he may be there for another year or two until some of these other guys, like Greg Biffle, who's I think he's 46, is going to be. He's got a contract through 2017. So 2018 may be Ryan Blaney's first opportunity to get into a quality ride, and I say that very loosely because I don't think Roush Fenway is given many quality rides these days.
Yeah, there you go.
Bad days for Austin Dillon, who was doing very good but was involved in a wreck late in the race, finished 41st. Clint Boyer finished 40th. That was a hard hit that he took late in that race also. It was just as I was starting to head down to the media center and get ready for to head out of there before the mass crowd exodus. By the way, side note, that was a massive crowd at Kansas Speedway on Sunday. Now, the haters are going to say, well, the stands weren't full. Well, okay. Believe it or not, even for NFL teams, it's tough to fill 85,000 seats, okay? Well, it doesn't matter what sport you're in. 85,000 seats is a lot to fill. That place was 3/4 to or more full.
And you have a lot of people now that stay down in that fan zone, hoping to maybe get some autographs from people crashing out. They had the tent where they had the drivers' meeting with all the folding chairs. There must have been 200 folding chairs in there that weren't there at the end of the race because people pulled them out and were sitting all over watching it on the Jumbotron there. Yeah. And
that was right when we got there on Sunday morning. You'd gone over to one of the souvenir booths to get some stuff for some friends. But could you believe how many people were in that infield?
Oh, yeah.
It was, I'd never seen it like that. We've been going down there for 4 years. We've been to almost every race down there for the last 4 years. I've never seen race day, cup day, that packed in the infield. They sold a lot of infield tickets and extra stuff that, honestly, kudos to those fans because they took full advantage of what we talked about on Sunday. Don't just come to the race, show up a half hour, 45 minutes before green flag, and expect to get your money's worth because you're not.
Make it special for you.
Bill Wright of the National Sprint League just around the corner. Jack Dover, the gas man, also in turn number 3. Plus, we'll preview Talladega coming up in turn number 4. And Stan Caesar will join us to help talk sprint cars through turns 2 and 3. A lot of shows still left to go here on the front stretch. We'll be back on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crazy. great. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
This is Andrew from Kosiski Auto Parts. Kosiski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kosiski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kosiski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kosiski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Heading into turn number 2 here on the front stretch, brought to you by Kosiski Auto Parts, online at Kosiski.com, located at 51st and I Street in Omaha, and by the phone at 402-731-4592. The weather's been absolutely gorgeous the last couple of weeks, but I hate to bring you down. It's not going to be too long until we're all slipping and sliding around there with the snowy streets, and you're going to be doing some fender bending. And before you freak out that your car is going to cost so much to get fixed, just give them a call over at Kosiski Auto Parts. They can get you fixed up with quality used parts at an affordable price. 51st and I Street, Kosiski Auto Parts will take care of you with that nice little smile that we always come to know Andrew Kosiski to have. Joining us on the phone now for turn number 2, Bill Wright, the announcer and PR director for the National Sprint League. Bill, you have survived year number 1. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It wasn't surviving. It was living the life. That's what it was.
Oh, it's just such a pleasure to be out there, and you always seem to be having such a great time.
It's racing. I don't know how you can beat it. I mean, you're out there racing all these different great tracks, and you got to love that.
You're getting paid to watch racing and report on racing, and it's kind of a steal and a little bit of a steal sometimes.
We talked about that last Friday night down at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and I was interviewing Tom Lathan, a guy that I announced many times with for many years, and he said it's like stealing. Yeah. Taking money for having as much fun as we have.
That's the voice of Stan Caesar, the voice of the Speedway. Stan, you decided to get a little bit of a bug at the right time. Better now than earlier in the year when you had racing to do.
Most certainly. I think Bill brought it over from Des Moines.
That guy. You can't trust that guy sometimes. Well, Bill, what a season you guys had. Danny Lasowski took home the inaugural FVP National Sprint League standings with several wins on the season. I'm trying to look through your emails here as I'm pulling up the stats. Did he have 9 wins on the season?
He did.
9 wins, 21 top 5s, 26 top 10s, and 29 races. So that's 28 features. That's not bad.
All right, how can we rig the rules so that he doesn't have such a big lead going into the last couple of races for next year?
Well, that's the point. I mean, the first half of the season, he really dominated things and kind of put it out of reach early on. We had a lot of new winners the second half of the season, and in fact, the highest point getters were Brian Brown, Brian Kloss, and Terry McCarl and Bill Baylog when we got towards the end of the season. They were picking up wins. Of course, Tim Kading on the final night at I-80 there picked up his first win of the year. So it's a lot of excitement towards the end, but we need to spread that out a little bit. We say that, but Guy Forbrook, his crew chief, and him, they're a tough combo to beat, and I think going forward there's going to be more of the same, but I think the competition raised a little bar there the second half of the season.
We interviewed Danny for the Legends of the Dirt Series at that final weekend at I-80 Speedway, and that's something he talked about. He and Guy was his pick to when he got a chance to wrench that ride for Todd, the GoMuddy.com car number 2, and those guys got a lot of laps together, and they hit the ground running. They spent some time on the Outlaw Trail there toward the end of the year, and like I said, hit the ground running at the beginning of the year. But at the end of the year, I'll tell you what, everybody, as you said, raised their game just a little bit. And how could the races be, whether Danny had the points lead locked up or not, how could the races be any more exciting than that last race at I-80?
No, absolutely. You win from 12th, was it? He started Stan and up through the pack, and it was crazy race that last night. And of course, we had the youngster from California, Dominic Selzy, came into I-80, and I can't imagine a better weekend of racing there. Of course, Friday night, Brian Clausen got his first NSL win, so I can't imagine a better weekend than the one we closed on.
You got pretty excited when we did the call on that last race.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the point structure. I'm always I'm really interested in this point structure that NASCAR has going with this chase for the Sprint Cup and the elimination rounds. Obviously, you guys can't do the elimination style like NASCAR is doing, but is there any kind of thought of maybe you guys could do some sort of a reset as it gets down to the last couple of races to try to draw that back in?
Guys like Lasowski might be opposed to that after the year he had.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the top couple won't want it to happen, but the bottom rest will want it to happen.
unlike NASCAR, I think those races stand on their own merit. Every race is an exciting race, and it doesn't need to have point standings, implications.
Yeah, you don't.
And we're not there for hours watching it. It's got to happen in a hurry, and that's what's great about sprint car racing. We had 30 laps at I-80, and Tim Kading had to make it happen. He had to pass a car every couple laps, and he did that and got to the front. And that's what sprint car racing is all about. And everyone, like you said, Stan, every race is an event in itself, it seems like.
To quote my friend Bill Wright, I think it was, it's happening so fast I can't keep up.
Isn't that the truth?
I know I personally don't like a season champion being, done with just a handful of races like that. They go the whole year, and whoever wins.
Yep.
That's right.
We were talking about the feature wins, 28 races over the season. Danny Lasowski had 3 times as many wins as a second-place win category for Terry McCarl, but it gets really spread out from there, which kind of says that, maybe if Danny hadn't had the win like the 9 wins that he had, that there seemed to be a lot of parity throughout the field.
Absolutely. I think we had 13 different winners, Dan, and you just look at the top 14, 15 in points and just see, how stout those drivers are. It's tough for anybody else to come in and crack that nut, but a few of those drivers did. Of course, Justin Henderson winning at Knoxville, where he's so good. Wayne Johnson winning our opener. Of course, Brad Sweet won the Front Row Challenge. So, a few of those outsiders were able to come in and pick one off. Of course, Sammy Swindell at the Jackson Nationals as well. Can't forget him. He swept that weekend in 25,000. But, it's a tough group to crack there as far as the regular National Sprint League drivers.
Let's talk just a little bit about the upcoming year, 2016. Looks like got big things planned, and address any issues or concerns that you might have with the series.
Well, one thing that we're doing is we're racing a total of 22 races at Jackson and Knoxville, and most of those are going to be a Friday night, Saturday night type thing. I think that we'll have 7 of those weekends where the drivers will be at Jackson on Friday night, Knoxville on Saturday. Both tracks doing a big race, Knoxville doing a 2-night event over the 4th of July weekend. And then, of course, the Jackson Nationals is going to 3 days next year. Of course, this year it paid $25,000 to win. We've got about a dozen other races, including, I-80 Speedway and Eagle Raceway are already tentatively, they're talking those things out. So hopefully, we'll be returning to those places. We've got some tentative dates set. We got to finalize those before we get our schedule out here in a month or two. But we're planning other races as well. But really, the focus is the tie between Jackson and Knoxville this year, and I think it's going to raise the bar for a lot of drivers because the purse also going up for National Sprint League members to $5,000 to win. Last year was $3,000 to win, $2,200 for second, and I think $2,000 for third. This year, $5,000, $3,800, and $3,000 is the top 3, I believe. So, a big step there. I think you get down to 11th place is still making $1,000. So the purse is going up pretty significantly for the full-time drivers.
I was really impressed with the way you guys were able to bring contingency sponsors and lap money on board and all this different stuff. So, because there's no secret in this sport. The toughest thing about racing a 410 is the expense, and that goes not just for the 410s, but late models in the Lucas Oil Series. That's one of the things that holds it back. But you guys did a really good job with keeping costs down and offering more contingency money.
Well, yeah, and that's thanks to our sponsors, and one of them sitting beside you there or across from you. I can't see you, but Stan with Speedway Graphics was one of those contingency sponsors, and we probably got about a dozen of them that step in and say, you win the heat race, you're going to make $100 or from us or whatever it is. But it's kind of a win-win situation for the businesses because they're getting business as well as getting their exposure. That type of thing with our series, and we try to get exposure for them as many places as we can. Shooting it out with the releases and during the race night, and of course, Speed Shift TVs at a lot of our races. If they're not there, someone's there with pay-per-view. So it's good exposure for those sponsors, and I think it's a win-win for both of us. And like you said, Dan, it gives back to the drivers as well, and I know the drivers are super appreciative of that sort of thing.
That's kind of, especially in the first year, in the inaugural season, trying to give back to the guys that are coming out and supporting that thing all year long. And I know Tasker Phillips picked up our end of the year contingency award, and I know he's going to be very appreciative of it.
Yep, and he actually sponsored the last NSL driver to start the A main, the furthest back. So we're not only giving to those guys up front, but also in the back. So that was one of my personal favorites that we had this year because it's given back to guys like Tasker Phillips. Or Dakota Hendrickson or some of those guys who started towards the back a lot of nights. And
that's why we did it because, whenever you hold a race, most fans, the first thing they ask is, what was the car count? How many cars did you have there? And you need to get these guys to be able to afford to come out and run the series. And it takes more than your top 10 or 12 guys, that everybody knows is coming anyway, and help those guys get out there and make a commitment to the series, and hopefully in the long run that's going to make it grow.
Nope, absolutely.
We're talking to Bill Wright of the National Sprint League. They announced earlier this year that the GoMuddy.com National Sprint League 360 series will launch in 2016. The success you saw off the 410 series, are you going to kind of apply that to the 360 series, or are you going to tweak it up just a little bit since it's a slightly different type of series?
It's kind of a whole different animal, Dan. And we have regional series that are coming on board that haven't been announced yet, and to be honest, I think they're still working on them. But what's really neat about this series is no matter which of our regional series races you race in, every driver who races in that regional series on that night is going to put money towards wherever they finish. They're going to put more money towards the end of the year fund, which we're calling the Cash Bowl. Let's say I win a regional event, that puts $300. Not only do I get whatever that regional event pays, whether $1,500, $2,000, whatever it is, but I also get $300 put towards the end of the year fund. So that regional series might have its own point fund, but in addition, you're going to get this money out of the Cash Bowl at the end of the year. So it's a really great deal for the drivers, especially for the ones who drive in multiple regions, because it doesn't matter what region you drive in, you're going to be able to put money towards that Cash Bowl at the end of the year. So it's great for these local guys because they'll have something coming at the end of the year. They don't necessarily have to run 100% of this region's races or that region's races, but if they're running NSL races, then that money's going to go towards the end of the year. Then, in addition, we have some regional events with a minimum $7,500 to win pay. Those are called our national events. So we don't have a national series per se, but we have what we call national events. I believe the first one will be at 81 Speedway down in Wichita. That was announced a couple weeks ago, and it'll be $10,000 to win in March. So we have some of those sprinkled in as well, and there's money that goes into the Cash Bowl from those as well. So the 360 drivers will be well taken care of, depending on where the regions are and those types of things, which will be announced here in the next month or two. So,
and that's really good to hear, because that event down there, it really needed a shot in the arm.
Yeah, I think so. And C. Ray Hall down there at 81 Speedway, and of course Tommy Estes is really in charge of our 360 side of things. He's out of Dodge City. They have a good relationship. They always have, and that's going to be, like you said, Stan, a shot in the arm for not only that event, but I don't remember it paying $10,000 to win, at least for a lot of years. So that'll be a good situation for drivers in that area and drivers who want to travel down there. I know a lot of Nebraska drivers travel down there, as well as drivers from Iowa here.
So that Cash Bowl, then, is that just going to be divided amongst the winners, or is that like just a big season-ending points fund?
Even if let's say I'm a non-qualifier in the B, still $10 is going to go towards the end of the year for my point fund. So And all the details on that are on nationalsprintleague.com. There's a little icon, right upper right-hand corner, GoMuddy.com 360 series. If you click on that, it's got all the details about that. There's a lot of forums talking about the end of year point fund and those types of things. So that'll kind of explain it. There's a cash bowl purse for regional and national events.
Bill Wright of the National Sprint League. Always had fun with you sitting in the booth, kind of shooting the breeze and talking back and forth. So I got to ask you one last time of the year. You got a factoid for me today?
Well, I've been so into this baseball stuff, Dan.
Okay.
I think the fact of the day is the Royals closer Wade Davis has a lower ERA over the last 2 years than any pitcher since 1914. How's that one?
Holy cow!
How's that one?
That's a good factoid.
All right.
Are you a Royals fan?
I am a huge Royals fan.
All right. Well, I'm
pausing my TV here. So.
I'm pulling for the Royals this year. I've got to go down and watch them earlier this year when I was down there, and I can't wait to see him in the World Series.
Yeah, Brian Brown down there. He's made all the playoff games so far. He had a couple tickets for me last Friday, and I said, well, I'm going to Lawrenceburg. I'm going to the World Outlaw show there, and then the USAC show. I went out there last weekend. And he's like, well, there'll always be races. This is, so he had a point. But if they make the World Series, I might catch a game on my way down to the Short Track Nationals or something.
I think that's appropriate. All right, Bill, have a good off-season, bud. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. We'll see you at Stan and Dan.
You bet. See you,
Thanks, Bill.
Yep, bye.
Bill Wright of the National Sprint League. Again, nationalsprintleague.com. There is a little GoMuddy.com logo for the 360 series if you're interested in that. We're going to talk to Jack Dover coming up in the next turn. You better believe I'm going to find out if he's going to go race NSL 360s, if he's going to go ASCS 360. If just to heck with it, I'm going national NASCAR racing. We'll find out what he's going to do. Coming up next on the Front Stretch.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the Front Stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the Front Stretch.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch. Heading into turn number 3. Going to talk to the driver of the number 53 Home Pride Motorsports, a sprint car for around the area, whether that be a 305, a 360, a 410. You're kind of all over the board this year for your sprint cars. Jack Dover, how you doing, sir?
Doing right. How are you?
Good. Stan Caesar hanging out in the studio. I kind of followed you all night long or all year long, and has been following you for a long time actually for your career. And so I said, why don't you come in and help us do a season wrap up with old Jack? What was it, about 79, 80 wins on the season?
Yeah,
kind of seemed like.
No, it was 14. Still pretty good, though.
It's a good year, yeah. Nebraska 360, the Carpet Nebraska 360 Championship. The first one here, I thought you'd won that before.
Finally. You finally got it done.
Finally.
See, now I'm remembering. You had it, but then there was a wedding.
Yep.
And your friend cost it.
Not his wedding.
No, not your wedding, no. But
in the first year you had it, you decided to go chase more money in Wisconsin, missed a couple race nights, points nights. Hey,
that
it is
shows,
what it is.
It just shows I don't race for points, and whatever comes out, comes out.
Kind of a money racer, though. You see a big race go here that is kind of it's feasible for you to go down there and race, so you go down there and play around a little bit?
That's right. I mean, we just stopped and figured out what it costs to drop the door every night with the trailer. And it's roughly around $1,000 just to drop the door. So we try to chase the money where it's at.
And that's on a good night. That's if you don't break. That's if you don't wreck the car.
Right. Yep.
Have any kind of. That's just you're looking to pay $1,000 just to start the race.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't think about your expense for pit passes, fuel, what it costs when we get 25 nights out of a motor, so you got to figure on the money it costs to rebuild a motor. So you take that by all the nights and figure out what it costs a night to run the motor. So it all adds up to about $800 to $1,000.
Tires.
Tires, yep.
That's a heck of an expense.
On the hauler and the car.
Some nights better than others.
Yeah.
Okay, not 70 wins on the season. Was it still a good season? You think it was a successful season, or was there some areas that you think you guys maybe need to improve on?
We definitely need to improve on trying to be more consistent. I mean, this year we weren't consistent. I mean, we won a lot of races and we were in the top 5 a lot, but it was just like beginning of the year we were down and then we went up and then we went down and now we're right in the middle. So we just need to focus on being up top all the time.
What do you mean by down? Like a bad setup, couldn't figure the track out?
Just bad luck on our side and not spending enough time working on the car during the week and just making sure everything's not right, making right.
Minor engine issues.
That's right. Yeah, just little stuff cost us some races. Like we were on the pole for the Hutchinson Nationals here about 2 months ago, and went out to do the parade lap, and a rocker arm broke in the motor. So I mean, nothing we can prevent, but just little things like that cost us race.
It kind of feels like you take more of a mechanic/driver role with the race team. I mean, being a team like you kind of have to. But I've noticed this year, especially watching you really closely between I-80 and Eagle, that you're able to pull into the pits before the problem becomes a real issue and address it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've heard you come in and say, I felt like there was something in the engine. We need to look at it, and then you guys would maybe pull the engine apart or park it for the night and not risk damaging it.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been that way. I mean, I gotta give my dad credit for that, because when I was little and starting racing, he always made me go out and watch him and learn the little things, and I kind of get frustrated when he's at the track because he's always wanting to help me and give me input, and he's really good at what he does with the racing. He's smart with that, but I'm to the point where I think I know how the car feels and I know what to do to make it better. So being a driver, I just got to do what I think's right. And I learned that way also. Yeah.
And have you had that conversation with him of, thanks, Dad, but I'm going to do it this way?
Yeah, and he still goes quite a bit and wants to put his input in.
Well, I think he'll let you kind of go your own way, but he will always remind you if it doesn't happen to go right. He will remind you after the race is over.
Told you so.
Yeah. But I'd say 80% of the time the calls I make are right. I mean, there's always sometimes I don't get the right setup, and I'll come in the pits and say that was my screw up, and just learn from it.
Yeah.
Well, I would venture to say that, and you've had some good teachers through the years, a lot of guys that kind of helped you out, and but I would venture to say that were you not in the position that you're in, you could go be the crew chief for just about anybody anywhere and definitely be an asset to their race team, because you know so much about the cars and shocks and suspension and what the car really needs to make it competitive.
I'd agree with you there, Stan. I mean, that's just learning over the years and paying attention to stuff, and it's just funny because a lot of people think I cheat. It's just that I know what everything's doing on the car, and when you know what everything's doing, you're going to be better off.
That's an incredibly touchy subject with a lot of drivers, that if they win too much, they're obviously cheating.
That's
and
right.
That is about the worst thing you could call a driver in this sport, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's and it's frustrating for you because they could tech your car all day long. They could tear it bolt to bolt and find absolutely nothing, but people will still say, he's cheating.
Yeah, I mean, some nights when I hear people say I'm cheating, or I hear through the rumors that I'm cheating, I just wish they'd tear my car down. That way, when they can't find nothing, it makes me feel better, and then they're just in awe.
Is there a series of drivers that have made that? Like they were obviously cheating but never got caught, and so it's been something that has festered over years? Not really saying like you, I mean, back in the past, back in the history, Stan, maybe some drivers that gave a bad reputation, and so now that's just kind of a default to go to for drivers?
Oh, I think there's been a lot of suspected cheating, but you can't, unless you know for sure, you can't really make accusations.
You mean like Jimmy Johnson?
Well, Dirk and I had a lot of fun last weekend at Kansas. We got to sit down and have you're already in that world, obviously, with what you did with the Cape World Truck Series, the officials, but finding out that the way these officials will get upset and if you make an official mad, they'll make your life hell.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the same way?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to make an official mad because it's not really that they have sides or have favorites. It's just you don't want to make them mad. Otherwise, they're going to make you pay for it.
They may not have drivers they like more than others, but they definitely have drivers they don't like.
That's right.
Okay.
you get a label, and you're a marked man, and it especially works, I think, with starters and corner guys and guys that are watching for rough driving or watching the starts of these races and stuff like that. You know, a lot of people are under closer scrutiny than the average guy, and you're probably one of them.
It's not just racers, man. It's any sport. You always heard, how Michael Jackson got calls, or LeBron James now is getting calls. Or,
Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah.
But I was going to say, I don't think Michael Jackson, well, the only calls he got was from a lawyer. But anyways.
Michael Jordan, excuse me. But, he was talking particularly, we had dinner with a official buddy of mine that's still doing it, and we were talking about things when people got busted, like during qualifying with illegal fuel. They became the random teardown for like the next 6 weeks. Didn't matter where they finished. This particular racer, like the second race after that, crashed out and finished 35th out of 36. They were loaded and ready to roll out of the place. Oh, no. You're the random. Get that thing out. We're tearing it down.
Was it last year or 2 years ago you like got teched and torn down like 3 consecutive races? In the one race, you crossed the checkered flag, had a part break in the front suspension, hit the wall, destroyed the car. They loaded it on the scale. They weighed it. They weighed you standing on the scale with it.
With the other pieces on the scale.
With all the pieces together to see if you made weight. And then they took it back to the pit area, and they came down and teched the motor, and they pulled the head off.
Yeah.
Are you out there with the crewmen picking up washers and everything? You make sure we make weight.
No, they set the car on there, and I seen that it was overweight, so that was good. But they still thought they had to put the pieces on the scale. So it was just kind of frustrating. I mean, we won, so that was a good thing to the night. But it was just frustrating when you have a bad night like that. I went bad night, good night, whatever you want to say.
Bad night, good night.
It went from being a good night to a bad night.
That's right.
Real quick.
I mean, I had a bad night. We won, but we had a bad night after that, and then they come and want to tear my motor down. Yeah. So that just makes it 10 times worse.
Was that insult to injury? It was like, come on, guys.
Yeah, and they just checked the motor 2 weeks prior to that. So I mean,
and then I think it was a couple of weeks prior to that.
Yep. Yeah.
We were hearing particulars about a truck team that owned 3 trucks, and one of them got busted for something. When the race was over, everything that bolted to the chassis had to come off. He showed a picture. I mean, there's the whole front suspensions are off.
Wow.
The rear ends are out. The pumpkins are out. The trailing arms are off. Anything that can bolt to that frame was laid out for 3 trucks.
Wow.
Have you ever talked to an official and be like, hey, or had an official that came up to you and said there's a lot of rumors going around, you're winning lately, so we're going to tech you extra hard tonight? Or is it just kind of an unspoken thing?
It's just kind of an unspoken thing. Yeah. They come up, they say, we want to pump your motor and see what the cubic inch is, and just tell me what I need to tear apart and have it ready for him. So
Jack slips him 100 and walks away.
Yeah. No, I don't have anything to hide. I'm not cheating, so I'll let them check whatever they want.
Then to kind of tiptoe around the question to make it sound like I'm asking if you're cheating, have you ever failed inspection?
No.
No?
Never.
Really?
Nope.
That seems, because inspection could be as easy as you just simply got the weight wrong, or you didn't install something right.
I've been light a couple of times back in the mini sprint days, but other than that, I've never been caught because I ain't cheating. So there's nothing to be caught on.
Catch, yep.
Is that an atmosphere in your organization that I've seen you have several different crewmen, but you make sure that nobody's doing anything illegal, unquestionable? Is that kind of one of the things about being a part of Jacked Over Racing?
Honestly, you don't really think about it or pay attention to it because, honestly, it's really hard to cheat in the sprint cars. I honestly don't know how you'd actually do it besides maybe tires or something. But
put the 410 in for a 360 night. That'd cover it, Jack.
No, but back to what we talked about earlier is I think there was a lot of cheating going on back in the 80s, but that's why racing's so equal today is because nobody's really cheating anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why you don't see very many drivers or one consistent driver winning all the time.
Talk to me about your 410. I know you're wanting desperately to win a race in a 410. We got to get you more races in the 410, right?
Yeah.
That seems to be more than anything that you're dominant in the 360s. So we got to get you more races on the 410s, right?
That's right.
I mean, it's just got to be experience behind it. It's not necessarily I think it has nothing to do with your talent level. I just think that you got to be out there racing against these guys more often to find that little nick that they're finding to be a 2/10 faster.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, I ran 410s full-time over at Knoxville in 07, and there at the end, we were running really good, and then we set third quick time at Nationals, the 410 Knoxville Nationals, which that says a lot when you can set third quick time. But now that I haven't raced as much in the 410 series, we're kind of behind on technology and stuff.
And sorry, did you just say you were racing the 410s at Knoxville when you were 7?
17.
In
okay.
07.
Okay.
07.
Okay. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Only an Iowegian would pull that one out.
I've gotten plenty of those jokes last couple of days. That's enough out of you. What did I do this week? Anyways, we don't have to get into what I did at Kansas. That definitely showed that I was from Iowa.
Buffalo chicken is what you did at Kansas.
Oh, my God. I had this buffalo chicken wrap at the hotel. It was so good. Jack, I thought I ate a ghost pepper. I was crying. I actually had to ask the bartender for a glass of milk. It hurt so bad. And then I take the leftovers back, and all weekend long he's like, "Gonna eat that leftover? Gonna eat that last wrap? I don't have a gallon of milk. I can't do it."
I knew he was in trouble when they set it down across the table from me, and my nose started draining. I was like, "Oh,
oh man!" Hey, I saw over Facebook that you guys added a nice new semi to your operation.
Yeah, actually, I worked Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for my parents last week, and then I got up at 6 o'clock on Thursday morning, went out to Grand Island, made a trip, and then as soon as I got back in town, I flew to Washington, stayed the night with a guy that used to work on my car, and got up the next morning, got the truck, and drove back.
Looked like you had a friend of yours that was lending the semi. True Trucking was kind of was letting you borrow their semi for the weekends.
Yeah, I actually bought this new trailer middle of May, and it sat for a couple months, get stuff done to it, and then I started using it beginning of August, and I didn't have a truck then, so my buddy Jared, him and his parents owned a trucking company, and they were kind enough to let me use the truck from the beginning of August up till now.
I think that kind of hindered where you could go and race a little bit because the truck had to be available before you could go and race.
Yeah, I mean, it was always available. I mean, they made sure to have it ready, and
oh wow!
I said I need to go racing here. They're like, all right, just take the truck and bring her back when you're done.
Is this new semi kind of like a little shiny new toy?
Oh yeah, it's nice. I love it.
Let's talk about some of the trips with the old truck and trailer.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those. I bet that truck and trailer's got some stories.
Like up and into the Northwest, maybe.
Yeah, 2008 we were going to race out in Washington and Oregon, and we were just trucking along, going up through the mountains, and blew the engine up right there. So we had to find a semi to get us the rest of the way to Washington and Oregon and come back. And the truck got us there, but it was they called it smoky because it smoked all the time.
Oh my God! Did you? You can't call Enterprise or Hertz for that.
No
kind of thing.
They don't pick you up,
man. Let's see. Like a lot of other teams, you're looking to add some new partners to the organization because I think your goal for next year is you want to go national. Either 360 or 410 racing, right?
Yeah, I mean, NSL, they're starting a 360 series, and I'd really like to go do that because I think we're really good with the 360 right now. I think we have a good chance of winning the championship in that. And just like we were talking, I got the truck and trailer now, so I'm capable of going to travel over the country and having backups and spare cars in the trailer and not have to worry about anything.
That was going to be my next question. ASCS or NSL?
NSL.
You're like that. And not to talk bad about the ASCS, but what's the difference?
Right now, all the rules are the same except for one, and they're making us put a gasket in between the injection and the cylinder head.
And you're talking about NSL's making you do that, or ASCS?
NSL.
Okay.
And, I mean, that's the only difference, and I think the races are going to pay a little more, and just try to support a new series and try to get it going.
Okay.
That could make the engines live a little bit longer, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, Todd, the guy that owns it, he owns Big Game Tree Stands, and anything he does is 100%, and he's a good businessman, so I definitely think it's going to take off and be something one day.
What's that gasket going to do that you were talking about? They're having you put a gasket in your engine.
It's pretty much like a restrictor or something. It's just it's going to try to even out the motors and make them more equal.
Okay. So that's going to put the race back in the driver's hands?
Yes.
A little bit more. Not that it's ever been out of it.
Set up, yep.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Any plans to go down to Australia in the offseason?
We haven't talked about anything yet, but if the offer comes along, I'm definitely going to take it because I love going there.
Going back to looking for more partners to help support Jacked Over Racing. So let's say I want to come on board as a partnership, and I contribute X amount of dollars. There's going to be a level I have to achieve, but do you do appearances and meet and greets and that kind of stuff for your sponsors to be able to help with traffic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always willing to do meet and greets, like you said, and it's kind of my way of giving back. I mean, if they want me to come out and park the car in front of the store for a day or open house or something, I'll come and do it because they took the time and money to help me, so I got to give a little bit back to them. Yeah,
and you've always been great about that. I've always seen you sitting there after the races, signing autographs, giving T-shirts, talking to kids, and getting some guff from a couple of kids that you may have beat their favorite driver, so they were giving you a hard time.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I mean, you got to take your time and talk to everybody because they're the people that makes this sport go. So you just got to be nice to everybody and talk to them.
Especially the kids because they'll be paying their own way into the races in a few years.
It's tough to be nice to people sometimes, though.
Yeah, especially when you have a bad night. I always find a way to get through it, though.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Actually, I feel kind of bad because I was supposed to be at a charity event tonight, and the car wasn't ready, and I was going to come do this. So there's a charity event down in Lincoln at Buffalo Wild Wings for a little girl.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. What was the details behind that?
Emerald Grace.
Yeah, she has a rare disease.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even at such a young age as a double amputee and great little gal. She's been down to the races quite often, and she always, whenever they have a night, the fans always support the cause very well.
Yeah, we actually passed the helmet at Eagle Nationals.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So you're going to be headed down to Little Rock. When you headed down for that?
We're going to leave next Tuesday night.
Okay.
And they kind of got it used to be practice on Wednesday, but they made it into a race now. So we're going to go try and get the car set up and go race Wednesday night and then qualify Thursday and then hopefully just be locked into the main with a lot of points. That's the plan now.
That's the plan. You ever won that race?
I won a prelim night, which...
Okay.
That's still awesome to say you won prelim night at Short Track Nationals, and we were running fourth on the final night and lost an engine. So we definitely know we can run up front.
We just talked to Bill Wright in the last turn. I think he's going to go down to that. Maybe you could get him to give you a couple of bucks for, and he can ride in the back of the truck.
No, I already got 3 people. You can't have more than that in the semi. So
really?
That's the only bad thing about not having the toter is I don't have a shower or nothing. But it's in the long run, it's more convenient.
Lauren going to go down with you?
No, she's staying home. She's got hair stuff to do.
That hair salon thing's kind of taken off for her.
Yeah, she's actually doing really good with that, and she's working at a brewing company from 5 to 9.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How does...
She doesn't give away beer, Dan. That's not what he said.
Damn it.
Forget it, Dan.
Damn it.
But no, it's just gonna be me, Michael, my crew guy, and then Cody Ledger's actually gonna go with
is
me.
He?
Yeah, he's gonna go and help and hang out.
Okay.
Cool. And then we're going to take a couple of his motors and meet our engine builder down there. He's going to take our engines back with him to North Carolina.
Fun. Headed down to Little Rock for the Comp Cams Short Track Nationals this weekend.
We'll be listening on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tomorrow night, Quicker Steak and Lube, the Touch a Truck event. I know last time Luke called Jesse to help out. Has he talked to you about helping out at all for that?
I haven't heard anything.
I'll talk to him because he called Jesse at like 2:00 that afternoon and said, "Hey, you need to go down to Quicker Steak and do this Touch a Truck event." And Jesse's like, "Well, I could have done a lot more with it had I had some advance notice."
That's right.
I'll talk to Luke about that ahead of time. It's a really cool event.
I'm sure Luke will do it. I mean, Luke's always willing to do anything cool like that. So.
It's they're bringing out a bunch of different, like Optimus Prime is going to be there. It's a semi that's painted up just like Optimus Prime, and a couple of our station vehicles are going to be there. And let's see, dump trucks, National Guard, limos, all sorts of different vehicles. So to have a sprint car out there would be really cool for kids to see.
Dan's Ford Ranger will be there.
Yep, I'll have it out there.
The Danger Ranger, huh?
The Danger Ranger. That thing's a beast. What anybody's talking about.
No, like I said, I was going to go do that charity event, but the car's not ready, so probably won't be able to go to Quaker Steak with the sprint car tomorrow because the last night at I-80, we blew that left rear tire coming out of the last corner, and it tore up a lot of stuff. So
Did it really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it looked like you got away with it with just a flat tire, but
no, it did more damage than that.
Yeah, that really surprised me. I couldn't figure out what was going on for a minute there because I'm standing there on the front stretch, ready for the race to be over with, and all of a sudden it just starts raining pieces of something, and I'm like, what is happening right now? I kind of thought maybe I was having a stroke, but then I realized as one of the pieces plopped down, I was like, that's a tire, and then you kind of go driving by, and I thought,
blub, 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 blub.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't blow going in turn 3.
No
so
kidding.
We were able to come out with the third place finish.
I think that was the second car that did that night,
yeah,
too.
Stu Snyder blew his tire.
Yeah. Wow. Anyways, all right, buddy. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
Best of luck at Little Rock.
I'm going to try my hardest. Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
All right. We'll be back in turn number 4. Thanks again to Stan Caesar for coming in and helping us out, bud.
You bet.
I always do appreciate it. We'll see you guys. We'll be back in turn number 4 here on the front stretch.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bay, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn number 4. Brought to you by Quaker Steak & Lube at Council Bluffs, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Make sure you get to Quaker Steak & Lube today for the CampingWorld500.com at Talladega Motor Speedway. Coverage starts at 1 o'clock on NBCSN and on radio on MRN with Green Flag at about 1:30. The way it rolls out today, let's see, Matt Kenseth is the worst of everybody, sitting 12th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 11th, Ryan Newman 10th, Kyle Busch 9th. Matt and Dale could still get in on points, but you're not going to gain 38. I think he's 38 points back, and I think Dale is
34, I think.
Yep, 34 points back. So you're not going to be able to gain that many points in one race. To be honest with you, that's tough to do in 3 races, which is the great thing about this new system. So they're going to have to win. When you look at Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman, and Kyle Busch, who do you see getting eliminated today?
Well, I don't think Junior and Matt will both make it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go out there and maybe try and hook up and get to the front and stay there. Just because they got to win. I mean, You're going to see some of these other guys, I'd be surprised if you saw Joey Logano within a half lap of the lead for most of the time.
Well, I don't know. The way his strategy seems to be, maybe he wants to be up there mixing it up with Kenseth because he's got the best opportunity to ruin somebody's weekend. I mean, he could be in one of the lanes on the final restart and not go. And maybe he ruins Matt Kenseth's weekend for the second weekend in a row. Maybe he stops Dale Jr. I mean, that seems to be the smartest strategy because eventually, if you leave Matt in this chase, in this scenario, he's going to get hot again one of these days.
Seriously, Joey's scenario is going to be to help Brad get in.
Yeah,
make sure Brad advances.
Because didn't he help Brad last year? He was locked in with a win at Charlotte, and then Brad needed to win at Talladega, and Joey gave him a great restart and a big push to go to the front, and that's what sealed the win for Brad. Then we've got Martin Truex Jr. sitting in 8th, and Brad Keselowski in 7th, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, and Denny Hamlin. Realistically, Denny Hamlin only 13 points out of the lead. He's not even locked in. I mean, he's not safe at all from being eliminated because he's only 7-8 points in front of the bubble. So all of these guys could get eliminated. Pick one for me you think is not going to move on after today.
I'm surprised Denny has made it as far as he has.
Think so?
Well, he won that first race,
Yeah, at Chicagoland.
And when we did our brackets, I had him going out in the first round.
Yeah. That was a big surprise when Johnson got knocked out in the first round.
Well, and that, I knew it would be a big name like that wouldn't make it, but I just picked the wrong one, from a multi-car team.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Junior and Matt aren't both going to make it. One of them might, but they're not both going to. And
I don't see Junior moving on after today. I don't see him finding lightning in a barrel.
He is lightning in a barrel at Talladega.
I just don't see him doing it again. I think there's too much on the line for these guys. Yeah, he won at Daytona, he won at Talladega, but I just don't see him coming back today when there's everything is on the line. I don't see him getting it done. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see it.
But Ryan Newman went through everything last year and got right to the end without a win. I don't see him moving on. But like I said, this whole race is such a crapshoot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have a handful of these guys that are going to be a half lap back, and with 18, 20 laps to go, they're going to try and work their way up to the front. And I was surprised, and I'm still surprised, that NASCAR decided to just do one green-white checker at this event. When, if they do one, it'll never get around. And, if they throw the white, or if they throw a yellow before the white, the race is over.
Yeah.
That really surprised me with what's on line for this race.
Yeah.
To switch in the middle of the chase like that for something like this, I personally think is wrong, and I'm surprised there hasn't been more displeasure voiced with it.
Well, I think the people that requested it and really pushed for this switch were the car owners, who were the ones that were paying for the destroyed cars at the end of the race, and they said, listen, we have now reduced it by 3 times for the amount of cars that we could destroy, the opportunities we have to destroy the cars. I think it was the team owners, and this is another thing that we should bring up maybe for another show when we've got a little bit of time. We've got a little bit more time to talk about it, but there seems to be a lot more communication these days between NASCAR and the team owners and the drivers. It's not, what was it, the old thing that people used to hate about Bill France was, it's my sport and I will do what I want to do. But now he seems to be kind of taking a stance of,
no, it's Brian France.
Okay, Brian France, excuse me. And he kind of seems to be taking a stance of, oh, wait, I kind of need you guys. So maybe I could use your input to stay happy, please?
Yeah, but still, making the change with 5 races to go,
yeah,
to me, it's just wrong.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't make today any less of a crapshoot. It just makes a possibility for the end to be a little less dramatic.
They didn't change the rule package for the 1.5-mile tracks here with 5 or 6 races to go.
Yeah.
They're waiting until next year.
Yeah.
Green-white checker should be the same way.
But this is different. This is a strategy that can change very quickly. I mean, as long as you know going into race day how the race could end, then you could plan your strategy. But if they throw a new rules package for people that haven't had a chance to test it, haven't had a chance to get the feel of it, and teams really get advantage of it, I see this as 2 different things.
No, see, I don't. And there's no strategy for a green-white checkered except to get to the front and win. And if Matt Kempth is running second and somebody crashes behind him, he's going to be mighty upset.
If history serves for anything, I'll be wrong and you'll be right. That's going to do it for Dirk and I. Make sure you join us for the Homestead Party on November 22nd. We'll also have a full recap next weekend from the Goodies Headache Relief Race at Martinsville. We'll talk to Shaylee Bade, and maybe we'll even get Rick Allen from NBC. Dirk, thanks so much for joining us.
Had a blast.
And thank you to all of you for joining us on The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.